Hello, everyone. My name is Debbie Hayes, and welcome to At World of Pets podcast. Everyone wants their pets to live as long as possible, but we also want them to have a wonderful life. So we feel that we've found something that can help facilitate that. But what we really want to do here is just discuss all things about pets and laugh and cry, depending on what kind of stories we're telling, of course. So I got interested um, in pets and in doing a podcast because, as I said, of this product which supports immune health, which supports immune health for both pets and for humans. And love to have you take a look at debspets.com or get a hold of me and get some more information about that. So tonight, we welcome back my co-host, David Wolfrum. He's had some medical issues and personal issues. And also Anthony Dunham is a friend of the show that's been on several times. And actually, Anthony and I are going to meet face to face for the first time on Friday.
Well, I've seen your face, but yes.
Well, I've seen your face too. I expect to recognize you, but to be able to sit across the lunch table and say, "Oh, hi, how do you think of, what do you think of that?"
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So, okay, David, take it away, please.
Yeah, for real. Thank you for having me back, Deb. It's been a lot for me physically, medical issues, all that stuff. Peyton Pooh, unfortunately, had his jaw broke, and I had to put him down. So, Mr. Old 16-year-old puppy dog is no longer with us. As all you know, he would sit right behind me on the bed for every podcast and bring great joy to everybody. But Anthony, welcome back. I mean, it sounds like you've been through a heck of a lot, just like me in the last couple months. But we're all here to raise each other up and just have a good time. So
Well,
let's
my
hear what's
my
going on.
my trials pale in comparison to what you've been through. Really, all together, it's been good. It's just been, the kind of stuff that happens in life. I guess you could say it's just life, at least for me on my end. Um,
Well, tell us about your life. Where, what are your plans going forward now that you're in Arizona?
Okay, so my plan has always been to return to Arizona. So just a real quick backstory for anybody that might be new, and it'll be quick. I'm a fully disabled veteran. I broke my back while serving in Iraq, around about 20 years ago, maybe a little more than that, maybe 21 years ago. Anyhow, I broke my back. And the VA just kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. At the 18-year mark, or around the 18-year mark, they finally decided to do surgery, and everything just kind of spiraled from there. Found out I have some degenerative diseases affecting my back and the bones in my hips and thighs, and just had some other issues that were progressing and got worse. So it got to the point in 2023 where I just physically could not work full time anymore. So after a conversation with my parents, they said, "Why don't you move up to Washington on a temporary basis while we get all your disability stuff straightened out?" So that's what happened. I spent about 13 months living in Washington State. Um, and about 10 months into that, or about 11, 10 and a half to 11 months into that 13 months, I finally got everything squared away that I needed for my disability. At that point, we knew that we were comfortable with me moving back to Tucson. My kids have been here since, well, my oldest since 2012, and then my other two were born here. So they've been here their whole lives. Um, and so this was home for us. And so that's where I am. I'm fully retired. I invested well as a younger man, and I live off my VA disability as well. I'm by no means rich, but if I live within my means, I'm comfortable. I'm fine. And so the plan is basically just what I'm doing now. I volunteer at my kids' schools to kind of be involved in that on a grassroots level. So when there's issues, I'm right there and I'm involved and I'm able. And actually, there was an issue at my daughter's middle school, and I was actually able to get a hold of my state representative that serves up in Phoenix from my legislative district and set up a meeting to discuss how we can effectively move forward from issues like that. So being involved in a grassroots level has really helped me to advocate, not just for my child, but really for all of Arizona students. And I feel really good about that. So that's pretty much what I'm doing at this point.
Well, sure. And without, expanding on your personal situation, what do you think that the school needed to change or improve on that you're working through now?
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it because it was actually even on the news. So right, literally just a few days before the Christmas break, at my daughter's middle school, an eighth grader brought a loaded gun in. And thankfully, the administration acted quickly. They found out about it, they acted quickly, and they were able to apprehend both the student and the gun before anything ever happened. It never even left his bag as far as him using it. So the administration, and I applaud them for it. They did a really good job. And so my issue has never been with the way that the administration at that particular school responded. My issue was Pima County Sheriff's Department has provided a school resource officer. And while I'm thankful they did that, first of all, that's not his only job within the Sheriff's Department. The guy's on the SWAT team and the bomb squad, so he can get called out at any minute. And secondly, he has 3 other schools within the district that he covers. So when that situation actually happened just a day or two before Christmas break, he actually wasn't even on the campus. And my thing is, I believe I've thought of a program to where we can get police officers whose only job, the totality of their job, is to be a school resource officer, and we can get them on the campus of every school in Arizona
That's a fantastic idea.
and be proactive in protecting our students in Arizona rather than reactive when it's too late.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, Colorado's been through like Columbine and all that other stuff. So, the theater shootings, all kinds of things. So I get that. I mean, it's sketchy for me because of who we have in charge here and their particular policies against the Second Amendment. We can't just walk around. I mean, Colorado is an open carry state, but if you misuse it in the wrong situation, if you misanalyze the situation, you're going to be the one that gets sued, not the actual criminal. So,
And the bottom line is, I agree with you. The safest citizenship on all of planet Earth is an armed, lawful citizenship. That is the safest citizenship anywhere you're going to find. But I also understand why they say they don't want guns within 50 feet of a school. I get it. I understand. And it's
Yeah.
for situations like that. And at the same time, it has nothing to do with people's political persuasions as much as it is just as busy as teachers are during the school day. I don't think we should arm our teachers and principals. I just don't think we should, because I don't think that's a viable solution. And so in meeting with my state rep, that's basically what we've come up with. And now we've got meetings going forward to talk about what would it look like to get police officers proportionate to the enrollment of the schools on each campus in Arizona.
Sure. Yeah. What ratio are you thinking about? Like 1 to 20, 1 to 30?
I don't know, but no, I think that there should be 1 cop per every 100 students.
All right, that's not a bad ratio.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if they're well versed in emergency reaction.
Right.
The
And
the
when you stop
doors
and
locked to the classrooms and all that stuff. I think that's a viable number, honestly.
and to the best of my knowledge, we've never had an issue of this nature at an elementary school in the United States.
Hmm.
So you can just put 1 school resource officer at every elementary school, and then from middle school and above, you do the proportionate ratio I was speaking about.
Sure. No, it makes really good sense, honestly. No, thanks for being an advocate for that.
Yeah. I think Sandy Hook might have been elementary rather than middle school.
You know what that was? You're right. You're right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about that. But
But
again, that wasn't an actual student. That was somebody that was new
Right.
staff member there.
right.
As far as like the actual students. But no, so that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. If we have 1 cop there and he's able to stand in the front and stop all guests before they come in and just find out the nature of their business. And I'm not for living in a police state. I believe in liberty, but to a certain degree, we have to be proactive with our kids if we're going to protect them. We just have
Mhm.
to.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if there's anything we've learned as a country, being reactive is causing our kids to get slaughtered in these situations.
Yes.
Right. Right. So,
Yeah.
so going back to animals, which I guess we haven't been on yet today, but since it's the World of Pets podcast, one thing that you forgot to mention that I just have a feeling your kids were pretty delighted about is that they got to come to Washington State for how long this summer? And tell people about your parents, the spread that they have there that would I think, make kids delighted to be there.
So my parents are ranchers. Well, they used to be. They used to ranch pigs. They had a pig farm. They had a 20-acre ranch. They, starting when I got up there in the fall of 23, excuse me, they began to get rid of all their animals because their ultimate goal, and they're on track to sell the 2,400 square foot log home my dad built and move out to the Carolinas out on the East Coast this spring and summer. So that's the ultimate goal. So they began the process in 2023 of getting rid of all their animals. So they have a 20-acre ranch slash farm out in on the east side of Washington State, literally right on the state line with Idaho. So on the east side of Washington State, and their neighbor has another 40 acres. And so the dog basically got to run 60 acres up there. And she just, I mean, she'd chase moose, elk, deer. She got a little intimidated by the moose, but she'd chase the elk and the deer, and she would stand off and bark at them. And then the minute they turned around, they didn't even have to move. She took off like a bullet. But anyway, yeah, but it's been a bit of an adjustment. And we've had some issues with her since we got out here with separation anxiety. She's regressed a little bit in her training. But now that things seem to be calming down from the whirlwind involved in moving down here, I'm going to look into, literally within the next week, look into partnering with a program down here that was similar to what I had found up there while I was in Washington, Deb. And so there's one actually right here in Tucson that will provide the same training that program was providing up in the Pacific Northwest.
And what is the name of that program in Tucson?
It's called Veterans Best Friend.
Okay.
And so they train dogs, and at least I believe that's the name of it. I haven't had a whole lot of communication with them because I've been trying to get established by the VA with the VA down here, which I am now, to get them the records that they need. But that took some time as well, so to get established with them. And so now we should be able to complete her training, but because it's been so long between the one guy shutting down because of the illegal stuff he was doing and the move down here, it's been like 6 months since she's been in any sort of formal training whatsoever. And so she's regressed a little bit. And I'm okay with starting all over again. I think it'll just be a good refresher for her. In the beginning part of it, she should kind of fly right through. She's a fairly smooth dog, but she did regress. I have had some behavioral issues with her, was able to take her to the vet, get a little bit of medicine to help that separation anxiety. So that appears to be working right now. I don't leave the house a whole lot unless I'm volunteering at the school, but we just had 2 weeks off. So I don't leave the house a whole lot. And I don't have a life. I don't have a girlfriend or anything. So it's just me and the dog, and we have a cat here. And so that's about the extent of it.
So-
Anthony, out of curiosity, what were the first signs of digression from her training that you saw, and is that something that you think is going to be easily corrected?
I don't know about the easily corrected part. So what it is it's separation anxiety attempts. So within the first 2 weeks of me living here, I had left her home alone, and I went somewhere. I don't know where I went, and I came back, and she had completely destroyed the blinds in the living room, trying to get out of the house. And and I was sleeping in my son's room because I had put so many things from the move in the master bedroom. So I'd been sleeping in my son's room. So she had dug up the carpet. I'd shut his door when I left the house. She had dug up the carpet outside my son's room, I believe, trying to get into where she thought I was. So she was trying to get into where she thought I was. And then when she realized she had dug it up and I wasn't in there, she came down to the living room and tried to get out the window and destroyed the blinds and just completely ripped them up. So that was the first time. So I was, I didn't think much of it. I thought, well, she's used to being with me like all the time and having all this room on the ranch to run with and everything. Um, So I didn't think much of it. And we went about 5 or 6 weeks with no issue whatsoever. I was able to even get the carpet fixed. I'd got the blinds replaced. I'd had brand new blinds. I had made a trip up to Scottsdale between then. I'd taken my sister down here and we had met a mutual friend up in Scottsdale. I was gone for about 13 hours that day. My neighbor came over, took her out once. I came back, no problems at all. And then on the day I went to Scottsdale. About 2 weeks after I went to Scottsdale, I left the house to go down to volunteer at the school. It was about a month before the winter break, the Christmas break. I went down to volunteer at the school and she knocked down my 65-inch TV, busted that all the way up, clawed through the blinds again in the living room, clawed through the blinds in my bedroom, tore up the carpet in front of the coat closet because she had seen me get my coat out that morning and a hat, and had ripped some of the paint off the mantle on the window in the living room. And so that's when I decided I got to take her to the vet and figure out what I can do here. I figured these were all real big regressions just from her training and her used to being with me. And now the step. Oh, and the other thing she had done was I came home one day before that, before she had done all the second damage. I'd come home one day and I opened the garage and went to pull in. And this lady was standing outside my house holding her collar right outside my garage. And I rolled my window down in my car. I said, "That's my dog." I said, "What happened?" I said, "She get out?" She goes, "Yeah, she was sitting next to your front door." I said, "That's weird." I said, "Is the front door open or closed?" She goes, "It's closed." I said, "How in the world did this dog get out? The garage door is closed. The front door was closed." I had left a window open about this much. She pushed it open the rest of the way, the living room window, with her. Somehow she pushed it open. She clawed her way through the screen and was out just running around the neighborhood having a jolly good time.
Oh dear dog.
So,
It's crazy.
um, so yeah, those are the issues that I've been having.
Okay. Well, what do you think your vet is gonna take action on?
So what my vet did was, I took her in for an exam after that second round of real bad damage. That second round, I've got to replace my TV, a bunch of damage. So I just called the vet and I said, if you can't help me, I said, I have no recourse. I'm gonna have to rehome her. I said, because I'm renting this place and I cannot just afford to keep fixing things. I
Mhm.
just can't afford to keep fixing things. It's $100 a pop for the blinds. It's $175 every time I have to have Tucson carpet come out and fix my carpets. I said, I just can't afford to keep doing this. I
Mhm.
said, but I don't want to. I said, the very last resort would be to rehome her. I want to see if we can fix this. And so I went to the vet and she said, "This is textbook." She said, in my opinion, this is textbook separation anxiety." She said, "And so I'm going to give her some anxiety medicine." And I bought this little things of treats. They're like peanut butter treats, and one of them's like smoked bacon, but they're like a little pouch. You put the pill in, and then you give her the
Right.
treat, and she eats the treat with the pouch, and it helps her take the pill. So about 30 minutes before I leave now, on the days that I leave, and again, I don't leave most days, but on the days that I do leave, I give her two of those pills, one in the peanut butter and one in the smoked bacon treat, and that seems to calm her down and kind of mellow her out for the time I'm gone. So it appears to be working.
Well, that's good. So you don't kennel her at all?
I tried when I first got down here. True story. I tried literally the first probably week to week and a half of October. And so a buddy of mine, a really good friend of mine, probably the best friend I've got out here, the best friend I've got anywhere right now, actually, probably.
Mhm.
Anyway, his mom had died right after I got up to Washington in the fall of 23.
Mhm.
His mom had passed. And his mom had a dog. And so he said, "Hey, I've got this crate. I'm not using it." He said, "I know you didn't have much during the move when I got back down here in October." He said, "Do you want the crate for Cobb?" And I said, "Yeah, thanks, bud." And he just lived a block over from me at the time. So I went over there and got the crate. And it was one of those solid plastic crates that you put the two ends together and screw them into place. And it was a larger one, so she fit well in it. I kid you not when I say she chewed a hole in that thing about the size of a basketball and squeezed her body through it and got out of that crate. And I came home, found it upside down with scrapes on her body and a little bit of blood on the crate where she had
Oh,
squeezed through. So I thought, well, that's not going to work.
Man.
So then I went and got a wire crate. I went and bought a wire crate at about the week and a half mark from Walmart. I started putting her in the wire crate. Came home one day and she was bleeding from her paws and her mouth. She had been attempting to scratch through and bite through the crate to get out of the crate.
Yeah.
So I said, this dog is harming herself being in the crate. So I had
Right.
to stop crating her as well. So that didn't work either.
You know, it's a funny backstory. Peyton's dad, Duke, I used to have a wired crate for him and Bella. And I left them in the crate one day, and I left, and we used to just set our laundry on top of the crate. And we come home one day, and Duke had gotten a hold of it, and it was tied up in the top, and his jaw was twisted in the laundry. And I literally, he probably would have been passed out and almost dead by the time if we were any later getting home. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of the wired crates unless that's like the first thing you train a dog on. To be honest with you, but yeah, that was a scary moment. So I get it. They can be an issue, especially for bigger dogs because they're way aggressive trying to get out. So I get that.
Yeah, but what was amazing to me was the plastic crate, how she had just made about a basketball sized hole and
Yeah,
she
that's
squeezed
insane.
her entire body through that basketball sized hole. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, so she does not like being home alone.
Yeah. Well, I don't like being home alone either, but that's okay.
Yeah, but
I've
you don't
learned
do that.
I've learned to cope. I go walk through the living room for hours at
Come
a
home and
time.
you've cut a hole in your front door.
I think my landlord wouldn't appreciate it, nor would my roommates.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what do you see for the next stage of potentially training her? I mean, do you walk her every day?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's physical activity is paramount for dogs, so.
I mean, as much as I can. The townhouses I live in are on the north side of this particular neighborhood I live in,
Mhm.
and they kind of form like an oval, almost like a running track. They're probably longer than a
Okay.
running track. It might be a half mile rather than a quarter mile. And I make sure we do one at least every morning, at least one complete loop. And then if I'm not hurting too bad and I've got the energy, we do at least one more complete loop before it gets dark. So she's
Nice.
doing that. She's probably doing about a mile a day on that. And then in addition to that, every time I take her out, we might do half a loop. We might do a quarter from here to there, but she's having plenty of time outside every day. I'm taking her out every single day. And about once a week when the kids are here. So at least once a week when the kids are here and they're here 50% of the time, they take her up to the park and just let her run. So
Nice. Nice. Is she a
yeah.
fetch player?
She likes to go get it, and then she likes to come like 5/8 of the way back to you and then just drop it and look at you.
yeah. Yep. We've had that.
Hmm.
Well, I had to step away for a minute because I had to let my guy out. And that was like the probably fifth time or practically that we've let him out since we started this podcast.
Oh
My
wow.
brother's been letting him out. I didn't have the heart to ask him again. But so my issue is that my daughter and son-in-law were staying with us for a while. And they brought their dog, of course. What else are they going to do, right? Well, their dog likes, she's not really bad, but just every once in a while, she'll like sort of posture my dog. And then once she actually nipped him and tried to nip him. So he started peeing at night inside.
Hmm.
And we aren't positive, but we think it's because there was just a difference in his living arrangement. You know, there were twice as many humans here and twice as many dogs here.
Yeah.
Um, So they decided to live in their travel trailer. I have to laugh at them. I'm sorry that I have to tell this story, but they bought a house here in Tucson and redid it, and it's beautiful. And they went on an extended vacation and rented it out for Airbnb, and they haven't stopped renting it for Airbnb since. And that was like a year ago. So occasionally they would stay here and occasionally in their travel trailer, but hopeful, I guess, I don't know. I don't know whether to say, hopefully it'll be the travel trailer from now on. But anyway, um, yeah. So it's been difficult. Um, the second part of that is that I bought myself a new sleep number bed. Though I had one before, he didn't care a thing about it. This one, he hardly gets up to go for his walk or to go for a ride in the car or to eat. He's always up there in my bed. Oh, unless I want to be in it. Then when I go up there, he'll leave. But yeah, it's difficult because I've been on the couch while he's in my bed part of the time. So
Wow.
that I would make sure to let him out. So who's training whom, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
Deb.
right. At least I can admit it. But he is better, but he still is getting up like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
So I don't know if either one of you guys have any experiences to.
Well, yeah, Cobb, we didn't have a problem in Washington because she could go anywhere she wanted to go, and she could, she spent probably 3/4 of her time outside because we spent 3/4 of our time on the range. So she probably spent 3/4 of her time outside. But since I've been back, she's been getting me up like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes like 3 hours later to take
Yep,
her out. So she'll come up on, and I tried to ignore it one night and just let it go till I got up, and then she messed in the house. But you can't really
yep,
get onto her for that because she
right.
tried to wake me up and I ignored it. And
Yep, I had that
I
happen too.
I learned. The only other issue I've had with her is her birthday was back in November, and so the kids and I were like, "Hey, we're gonna get her this new stuffy, this stuffed animal for her birthday." So we got her this stuffed animal, and last week she murdered it. And so there's just the stuffing is everywhere, and there's no. We have the cover to the stuffed animal, but it's all flat like a pancake, and then the stuffing's upstairs. It looks like a crime scene. And so anyway, yes, she murdered her stuffy.
Yeah,
Well,
that was Peyton's favorite thing to do. Get the squeaker. And now it's just a stuffy.
right. Well, the squeaker's better, but Anthony, I'll guide you to one of our podcast episodes, which is Don't Let Your Dogs Eat That. And it sounds like it would be about food, but it's actually about toys
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Huh,
really, I mean, they're going to swallow part of that.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yeah.
let you know where to go find. Well, you can go find it on YouTube on at worldofpets.com. And I mean, at World of Pets podcast. And then
Well,
it's,
Deb, even on that note, so everybody has their little trash can by the toilet, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to like train people, don't set it on the ground if Peyton poos around because he's going to get in it and then he's going to throw up and you're going to be mad about it. And I'm going to be like, I told you so. So you keep the little trash can on the back of the toilet where the little dog can't reach it. So little tricks of the trade that you learn along the way. It's like having a toddler and okay, we're gonna make the Christmas tree 3 feet taller this year, so it has a bigger
Right.
trunk, and the cat can't jump in it, or
Oh,
whatever, But sometimes we have to retrain ourselves based on the progression of our pets, and that, I mean, 16 years of. Well, let's see. Actually, if I actually backdated, I've owned dogs since 2000. Let's see, I got married in 2008. So 2009 was the first time I had my own dog. And so it was a constant learning progression. I'm like, oh, it's just like raising a baby. No, it's not. It's not like raising a baby. Similar, but
Yeah.
not quite.
Yeah.
And they're much more ambitious, especially, bigger dogs that have a ton of energy. If they're herders or any of that stuff, they take a lot of extra work. That's why I prefer small dogs. I prefer dachshunds particularly, just because they're such cuddle bugs and I love their ears. But that's just a personal opinion. But yeah, just learning to adapt to your dog and or cat, honestly, because I'd had cats actually first. 1996 was my first cat, and I had to learn that process too. So it's all a big long process. It's not like I actually never took classes on it. I just like, all right, something has to change here. Let's try this. So
Trial and error, right?
Yep.
yeah. And then each pet's, got their own individual personality. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
their own habits. They're geared a certain way, if you will. So it's always going to be an adventure. You can't discount anybody else's experience based on the breed either. So pets are pets, just like kids are kids. Not all kids get along. Not all pets get along. So there's that.
Right.
Yep.
Right. All right. Well, I think we've at least brought to attention some of the problems. I'm not sure that how well we did at solving them, but we had at least brought them up, and some people will be able to look into this further if they need to go to a vet. One thing I was very interested to find is that I was looking for natural vets, and there were quite a few listed that I found in Tucson. I was surprised. So I think we're going to
Excuse me.
do that next. But I just want to close out by talking a little bit about the Great Discovery, which is a content creators platform. I was interested in it because I thought of it as a way to get information out about the medicinal mushrooms, which are in the products that I was talking about that Deb's Pets carries. And the other thing about that, because you can really choose whatever topic you want to write about, is it seems to me, especially because there's language translation, that we can get information out globally to people about things like child and human trafficking and other things that in some cultures they may not want to talk about it. They may not be allowed to talk about it. We have a platform that we could get information and might be able to get some of those people some tidbits from someone that would help them because they would be more careful than they generally were. Or other issues that can come about. I'm thinking about writing a story about or what we went through when my husband had Alzheimer's, because he died of Alzheimer's. So anyway, thegreatdiscovery.com /DN Hayes. You can go to it and find out more information about what it has to offer. And then we also are sponsored by the World of Ability podcast network. And their theory is that if people have a disability, they also have an ability to offer. And so they work a lot with people with disabilities, and we appreciate what they do. And I am going to put in another little plug that's not related to pets. Through the World of Ability Podcast Network people, I found out about a nonprofit that they have a structure on property that was donated to them in Illinois, and they're looking to house veterans for up to a year, a couple of families when they get those structures built, but individuals now. And they do have a breakfast once a month. And the breakfast is for veterans, and the veterans do eat free. So there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Anthony, when we have lunch on Friday.
Okay.
The founder of that has a dream that there will be one of those facilities in all 50 states. So I thought, well, if you start out with a breakfast, I can help with that.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can work on organizing that. As far as the more detailed stuff with getting land and all that, I think is above my pay grade. But anyway, so if anybody has any information or would like any information about that, they could contact me also. So
Great.
Very good. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
So thank you guys for coming on tonight.
Yes.
And thank you to our audience. And if you could like and share on YouTube so that we get some more viewers, that would be much appreciated. And we will see you all next week.
All
Sounds
right.
good. I'm going to shamelessly plug myself because I got banned from
Yes.
Facebook. So, David Wolfrum, my name's at the bottom, will be on Facebook, and I will be bringing back up a podcast that I used to do, Politics and Religion, Prayer Time 1776. I can't use that channel anymore because it was banned. But tune into my direct personal file. I'm going to see if I can break it, and we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, David Wolfrum, Wolfrum. I love you all. Deb, thanks again. Anthony, wonderful talking to you. I can't wait to
Yes.
have you back on the show.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you
All
guys.
right. And Emily will close us out. But in the meantime, you can take a look at our YouTube handle there and other information that's scrolling across the bottom. So thank you to you too, Emily.
Yes, thanks, Emily. Appreciate you.